between the conscious and the unconscious. So I breathe in, I breathe out, feeling your body, making that mind-body connection. And then bring your hands to Anjali Mudra at the heart center. And as you inhale, sweep the arms down and up. And exhale back to the heart. 2 more times like that. Inhale. And exhale. And once more, inhale. And exhale. And then bring your hands to your legs, bend the knees. We're going to slide down and up, hinging at the hips, tipping the pelvis towards the thighs. It's not a roll up, it's a lift up with a flat back. And then bringing the knees to straight. Keep going here, hinging forward. And back up. And one more time like that. And then go ahead and step your feet out. Bring your hands right here and bending and straightening. So this little pre-balance practice. And as you're doing this, try not to think about it. Try to let the mind follow the body. So just notice. It's hard to do this wrong, right? So just notice how it feels to be in your body, almost like a rocking rhythm, like being in a rocking chair. And get that sensation into the body. And then the next time you bend, we're just going to bring our weight to our right foot and roll up on the ball of the left and then back across. And again, make it slow. Let the body take the lead. So don't let your mind override. Just notice how it feels to be in your body in this way, making that mind-body connection, yogi, the mind and body. Then you can begin lifting one foot and then lifting the other. See how effortlessly you can make this happen by allowing the body to be in charge. Let it do what it needs to do here. And just notice how the weight shifts from one foot to the other. And I think most of us feel like, or many of us feel like, we've been in constant transition, not really quite knowing where we're going, but constantly adapting, transitioning since March, since we've had to adopt our lives to the pandemic. And so if you can do it by listening to what your body needs and allowing the body to receive what it needs. So sometimes the body needs rest. Sometimes it needs some physical activity and exercise. Sometimes it might be something sort of fun to do. But one of the strong points about yoga is learning to listen to not what your body wants, because that is not always what it needs, but listening to what it needs to be stable and yet flexible in life, because that's what you need. You need those two opposing forces, stability and flexibility, just like you need relaxed effort. So bring that to a close, stay here and breathe. And then bring your feet in a little bit. Bring your hands low on your hips. We're going to do these hip circles. So just rotating the pelvis on top of the femur bones. Slow it down so that you feel the ball of the head of the femur rolling around in that hip socket. I always think of a trailer hitch, a ball and hitch like a trailer hitch, and how that fits in there and can move in all directions. And then reverse this, going back the other way. And then go ahead and come back to a wide stance. And come back to shifting your weight and lifting the foot. Just come straight back to this part. We're going to do this a few times, and then we're going to transition into tree pose or vrikshasana. So bring your weight over to the right, hands together, left foot on right shin, below the knee joint, and then back to the other side, and back to the other side. And so take your time, one side and then the other. Listen to the body, try to really relax into it. It's okay if you miss a balance and have to put your other foot down, it's okay. And no matter what happens in the balance poses, it really does not matter. It's that you do the practice. And the next time, both feet are flat on your mat. Stay here and breathe. And then bring your feet right underneath your hips and bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. And as you inhale, bring the arms down and up. And as you exhale, bend the knees, draw the hands down the midline, coming to Utkatasana. Inhale up and exhale to the heart center. Keep going. And one more time. And then just float your arms down, rotate the palms forward, lengthen the spine, and drop back into that breath, inhaling and exhaling. Pull the breath down deep into the pelvis. So we know physiologically that is not what really happens with the breath, but if you imagine it that way, it will deepen and lengthen and smooth out the breath. And again, see if you can make that mind-body connection with your true, authentic self, your Purusha. And if you have an uncontrollable urge to move or wiggle, if it's difficult for you to stand still, notice that too. Oftentimes that is undischarged energy. It's like, well, in Ayurveda, we would say it's an excess of ether and air elements. And that energy, if you can ground it and learn to be still and notice, then you'll have all that energy that's just being randomly discharged to use for what you want to mindfully use it for. Now, inhale, float both arms up overhead, and exhale and lower. We're going to do this a few times. Inhale and exhale. And one more time like this, and then floating the arms down. And then begin with your feet into Tadasana. Just begin shifting your weight forward and back, and forward and back. And as you shift forward, you can just barely lift the heels up off the mat just a little bit. So you're shifting the weight onto the toes and then back to four corners, on towards the toes and back to four corners. And let the body find the rhythm and the stability here. And then if you want to try and lift your heels a little more and lower the heels down, you can. And it's interesting as you're making that mind-body connection, how you feel the muscles hugging to the bone all the way up and all the way back down. The ankles might be wiggling a little bit, which is actually a good thing. That helps improve balance if you have that flexibility in your ankles. And we're not just talking about balance in yoga class, we're talking about functional balance, so that if you trip on something when you're out walking around, you don't take a tumble and a fall, but you can catch yourself. Now just take a couple of breaths. And now we're going to combine the arms and legs. So inhaling up, lifting up onto the balls of the feet, and exhaling down. And just for today, see if you can focus more on balance, so staying low if you need to for the balance, rather than seeing how high up on your tippy toes you can get. Inhale. And that's sort of one of the fun things about yoga, is that different practices, you can focus on different parts of the practice. Sometimes it's the shape of the pose. Sometimes it's the balance. Sometimes it's the breath. Sometimes it's the energetic. And sometimes it's the alignment. And of course, you're practicing all of that every time. It's just what the focus is, what you really want to work on. Go one more time, inhaling up and exhaling back down. And take a few breaths here. Now go ahead and step your feet out. And bring your hands low on your hips. So we're just going to twist from side to side here. So nice and easy. You just want to feel again the leg bones rotating in the hip sockets in a way that will help your body secrete synovial fluid. which is a lubricating and healing material that your body produces on a regular basis. However, that can tend to diminish as we get older. These gentle movements like this through the joint space can help your body produce more. And then go ahead and come back to standing. Bring your hands to the fronts of the legs. You might want to turn your toes out just a little bit. It's up to you. Bend the knees, let your sits bones come back. We're going to slide down and up with the legs wide apart, tipping the pelvis towards the thighs, sliding down and back up. And go one more time like this. And then come back up to standing and turn your right toes out, your left toes forward in a warrior two stance, and bring the arms out to the side and bend the right knee. And then come back to straight and lower the arms. So try to pay attention to the position of your shoulders over the hips, bend. And pay attention to the external rotation of that right thigh. This is inhale and exhale. And just imagine prana, energy flowing, inhale and exhale. And the flow of the energy is so strong and unobstructed that it's the prana that is moving the body. So inhale and exhale. One more time, in and out of your warrior two. And then the next time, we're just going to stay here for some breaths. So see how still you can be. Allow the prana to carry the weight of the body. And allow the mind to follow the breath. I breathe in, I breathe out. And on your next exhale, lower the arms, straighten the knee. And go ahead and heel toe and step your feet in. Lengthen the spine, and then just start this slow movement from side to side. And then bring this to a close and just take a few breaths in mountain pose, Tadasana. Now step your feet out. We'll do the left side. So pick up your left foot, bring your left toes out so you're in a warrior two stance. Your right toes are facing the long end of the mat. Your left toes the short end of the mat. Try to square the hips and shoulders up to the long end. Bring the arms up and go ahead and bend that left knee. This is inhale and exhale. So as you're working the second side, it may feel different. You may notice this side feels really different. And if you do notice that, just notice it without judging. That because we have a dominant side, we're either left-handed or right-handed. One side will almost always feel a little different from the other. And then if you've had injury on one side, that will also make it feel different. And the next time you come in to warrior two, stay here. Feel the strength, breath, prana. And then release the arms down, straighten the knee, heel toe, step in. And again, that's slow, gentle, shifting the weight from side to side. And you want to keep your feet on the earth and feel this gentle pressuring into your hips here. Not pain. You don't want to feel any pain. You just want to feel the weight shifting from one side to the other. And this will actually help bring that, that vata energy, so that ether and air, it will help ground it. So just see if you notice that for yourself, if this is calming for you. And then bring that to a close and go ahead and get your chair and bring it over to the right side of your mat with the seat of the chair facing you. And then step back out into that warrior two with your right toes turned out and your left toes are straight ahead. And we're going to work on trikonasana, or triangle pose. So the legs are in a warrior two stance, but they stay straight. Bring your hands on your hips. Find the tops of your iliac crest, or the hip points, are these two little bones. Well, they're kind of big bones, but they're those hip bones. And you can feel them. It doesn't matter how much flesh you're carrying, because some muscles attached to those hip bones. You can find those hip bones. And then you want to lengthen and tip those hip bones one on top of the other, stacking them, lengthening through the spine, and then slowly lift back up. And we're going to do this a few times. So feel the weight shifting over the legs, in the pelvis as you tip over, and then as you lift back up. And you do not have to come as far over as I'm coming. You just want to feel your own way. But you want to try and keep this left hip stacked on top of the right. So what you don't want to do is let the hips roll forward like this. You want to keep your hips open, stacking hip on top of hip, shoulder on top of shoulder. So one more time like that. And then reach out with this right hand, tip the pelvis, bring the right hand onto the chair and lengthen the spine, and then float this left arm up and take a few breaths here. So this is the static triangle pose. You can turn your head to look up towards that left thumb. And then we're going to make big circles with this left arm. So inhale the arm up and over. Now here you can let your hip roll forward. Exhale as the arm comes across, and then stack your hips, stack the shoulders, bring the arm up. There's the trikonasana. And exhaling down and around. So really take your time, move slowly here. And notice the side body openings as you move that arm around. Slow it down so the tissue has time to stretch. If you move quickly, you'll move in your same old range of motion. You want to explore new possibilities. And the next time this left arm comes up, just stay here. You can turn your head up. Again, see if you can feel the prana carrying the pose. And then turn your head to look to the right hand and bend the right knee, bring it over the ankle, Engage the belly and lift up, and then pull your shoulders back over your hips, back to warrior two. And then release the arms, straighten the knee, heel, toe, step in, and come back to this rocking back and forth. And then bring this rocking to a close and just be still. Drop into the breath and just notice if you feel one side differently from the other. And then we're going to move our chair over to the other side. So learning to feel what's going on in your own body is necessary in our culture because we're taught that is not real. But when we're standing and noticing, we're paying attention to what's called the VPOC, or the energetic after effect of the yoga pose. And there's information in that sensation that goes above and beyond any kind of word or explanation, or that's kind of the magic of yoga. That's making that mind-body connection. So go ahead and step your feet out again. Take that warrior two position of the legs. The legs stay straight. Try to square your hips up as much as you can, but if you're not perfect, and nobody is, don't worry about it. You just want to engage the muscles to tension the body in that way. Lengthen, and again, begin tipping the pelvis, stacking hip point on top of hip point, and back up. Keep going. One more time, tipping over and coming back up. So we practice this part repeatedly because I think it's the most important part of Trikonasana. And then go ahead and hinge over, reach out with your left hand, bring the left hand onto the chair, and then lengthen your spine. So lengthen the spine, and then float this right arm up. And there you are. There's your static Trikonasana. You can turn your head up to look towards that right thumb and breathe. And here we go with our big arm circles. Inhaling this right arm up and over. As the arm comes here, the hips can come forward. And then as the arm comes out to the side here, stack the hips, stack the shoulders, so that you're rotating a little bit into the left hip. If you can't feel that, don't worry about it. Just stick with your arm. Feel that stretching of the side bodies, and be sure to work with your breath. Don't hold the breath. This is inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. And one more time. And then coming back to the static pose, see if you can feel the prana flowing. Has it opened up a little bit more? Slow, deep breaths into the belly. And then turning the head to look to the left. Bending the left knee into a warrior two. Engage the root, lock the pit of the belly, float this left arm up, and then you have to bring the shoulders over the hips. You'll feel the pelvis shift back, coming to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And then lower the arms, straighten the knees, heel toe. Step in. And this gentle rocking from side to side. And then bring this to a close and just be still. And just notice what you feel in your body. So people who have a lot of earth and water element or a lot of kapha may not really feel much because there's just more grounding energy. People with a lot of pitta or fire and water elements may feel impatient and are might be thinking, why didn't she move on, and let's get on with some movement. And people with a lot of vata just won't be able to stay here. They'll be moving around, doing other things. And so the practice is to balance all those 5 elements, ether, air, fire, water, and earth, or the 3 doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha, to balance it so that we have use of our energy, so our energy doesn't hijack us. And you can move your chairs. Kapha energy will hijack us by making us too sedentary. Pitta will hijack us by making us too aggressive and so goal-oriented that we ruin our physical health to meet some sort of a goal. Go ahead and just bring your feet apart and just move back and forth. And then vata energy or ether and air energies, that will just take us up and out of our body where we're using the energy, well, we're hijacked by it. That energy just takes a life of its own on. And it can be dangerous for us. So bring this to a close. Bring your hands to the fronts of the thighs, bend the knees. We're going to slide down and up 3 times. And then come back up and just begin floating this right arm up and then floating it down. Keep it at about shoulder level, and the left arm. Let the elbow lead and exhale down. The right arm, inhale and exhale. And the left arm. Now, this time as the right arm comes up, go ahead and bring kind of a cat fold forward and then exhale a little cat. Inhale, engage the root lock and the pit of the belly, and exhale. Inhale, little cat. Exhale, little cow. Keep going like this. You can holograph this if you want. You can begin bringing even more wave into it. Just moving in this 3-dimensional asymmetric way in your body so that you feel embodied, so that you give your energy a place to go and to discharge and to leave, but not in a way that leaves you dry and crispy, in a watery, fluid kind of a way. And then bring both hands into it. Just moving in this three-dimensional asymmetric fluid way. Do that one more time. Inhale, coming forward in a cat. The arms and legs just flow. Maybe there's a little cow here. And then coming back. Bringing your feet underneath your hips. And just bring your hands to the heart center here. And just one time, inhale, hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring the tips of the fingers to the crown of the head. Now, inhale, pull your energy up and out. So all that wavy, strong, embodied energy, you're going to wrap yourself around it like a big, pure energy cocoon.